because it will be useful for myself and for others as well. So I'll just do that. Okay. Okay. So formally, what is NVMe? What it can do? We have just seen very briefly on what are the aspects in which we can use the tool NVMe. Primarily, we are interested in understanding the microclimate. Okay, how buildings, how vegetation, and other entities in an urban environment interacts. Okay, so we can use, there are many tools available, and this is one of the most sophisticated tool as of now, which is there in the market. And if you see papers, research papers, many of the papers refer to NVMe software. Okay, especially when we discuss about urban climate or urban microclimate, especially if you are discussing something which is beyond building scale. Okay, so in that way, this is one of the powerful tool available, and in fact we all should know about this, so that whenever there is some requirement, we can use this scientific tool. Okay, so basically this is a very simple software. Actually, if I have to put it in a very in a simple format, this is a grid-based software. Okay, so I'll show you the demonstration in after some time. It's a grid-based software. Okay, and what we have to do is we have to have very basic informations, like for example, building footprint, height of the building, characteristics of the building. Okay, then this is one part. The second part, we should know the vegetation. Okay, the characteristics of the vegetation and types of vegetation, so on and so forth. Third component, we should know about the soil characteristics or the surface characteristics. So suppose if what is the kind of soil that we have in the site, or what is the kind of finishes that we are going for, pavements, roads, and so on and so forth. Okay, the third component, basically on soil and the surface characteristics. And if we have these information, plus we should have some basic understanding on the microclimate or climate information, meteorological data. Okay, so together we'll be able to model it in the software, and it will simulate. Okay, and we will be able to generate results. What kind of simulations? This is the second part, simulation. Simulation is a complex mathematical model, you can say. What we can simulate is all up to us. You want to simulate heat, you want to simulate ventilation, you want to simulate how vegetation plays a role, how water plays a role. It depends on the kind of questions that we want to ask. So this is the second part. It's again just a click of the button, we'll be able to generate results. Third, there is one interface for reading the results. Okay, so basically we have one interface for modeling, one interface for interface for simulation. Okay, I'll just say building modeling or urban models. The second interface is for simulation, where we say that okay, how much time we want to simulate. We want to simulate for 1 day, we want to simulate for 6 months, 1 year, and what is the condition in which we want to simulate. Okay, so this is the second part. The third part is reading the simulation results. This is the third part. So this is a separate tool, this is a separate tool, this is a separate tool, all clubbed together. It works as one platform, which is NVMe. Okay, what are the things that can be done? Okay, I said this is a very simple software. It is a simple software because if I have a you will understand as I give some demonstration on that. It is easy to model. It's not very complex exercise. Okay, it is also easy to assign kind of what simulations you want, when you want, how much time you want the simulations to run. That's also fairly easy. And reading the results, of course, it's not a big task. It's all about how do we take out the simulated data and then generate results. uh, where is the issue? The core issue, or the actual essence is understanding the simulation process itself. Okay, what are we simulating, and how are we simulating, and what results the tool can give. Okay, for example, I have taken this from the tool itself, the software platform itself. The calculations of microclimate model includes these things: short wave and long wave solar radiation fluxes. Okay, considering shading, multiple reflections and on the surface, back on the buildings and vegetation, so on and so forth. Okay, determination of evapotranspiration of the plants and other things. Okay, dynamic calculations of surfaces with wall temperature. Okay, considering facade and green roofing and how it will impact on the overall performance of the build fabric. Water heat exchange, what is the equation between that? And if you remember, there's a book, right? I don't know about landscape students, probably sustainable architecture students, they must be aware of the book by name Boundary Layers, right? Where we have seen, where we read about, it's kind of a textbook for all of us to know how do we understand this urban climate. Okay, so where we have seen how introduction of water in a built environment will have an impact on overall microclimate, and how it will impact the energy performance and so on and so forth. Okay, so this tool can do that. In fact, we can model trees also. How do we model trees? I'll give you a very brief introduction on that also. How do we model trees? There are already certain inbuilt trees in the software, but we can customize it. Let's say you are doing a site study and you have a specific tree characteristics, and you have taken measurements, and you want to model it to as realistic as possible. Okay, we can do that. The software has the ability, or it gives an opportunity for us to do recreate that environment as well. Okay, and in fact we can also analyze on air pollution. Probably maybe not, we may not be directly using it. Even both the batches, we don't do this kind of work. Maybe if somebody is interested, we can do that. The software can generate that. And especially, for example, I think both the batches, both landscape and the sustainable architecture students, probably may be interested in understanding what is MRT, what is PET, and what is UTCI. Okay, and UTC probably I don't know how extensively you discuss in the studios and landscape studios. In sustainable architecture studios, we do discuss about all these things, right? What are the parameters that will have an influence on this? How comfort conditions are modified by these characteristics. Okay, so the software it generates results of these natures as well. Okay, and of course, if we know programming and all, we can do a lot more stuffs than that. So when I say it is the software is simple, and that's one part, and I also say that we should have understanding on all this. Only then there is some meaning for us to use this tool. Otherwise, what happens is we can model it, okay, and we can assign some simulations. It will generate some results, and we can interpret it. Unless we have understanding on the basics of urban climate, the basics of building and urban physics, okay, and if we, how do we modify the parameters so that we get a desirable results, then the if you don't do that, then probably the results may not be as expected. Okay, so that's one thing we should keep in mind. I'll show you both the aspects. I'll first show you how simply we can generate the results, and I'll also show you what are the components where we should have understanding, so that we can modify the input values so that we get a meaningful output. Okay, so this is one very basic theoretical thing that which I thought I should discuss. And also broadly it has okay, yeah, this is the first slide I should have put. It has got certain tools, okay, like we have, like I was explaining, we have basically 3 tools: one for modeling, second for simulation, and third for reading the results. Actually there are more than that. There is something called Mond, okay, and in the video also there was some mention about the tool called Mode. This platform helps in taking the CAD file directly, taking the GIS file directly to the platform. And also, if let's say if you have open source street maps and you have some data already prepared and you want to take that into the tool, this Mode platform can be used. Actually, this is a vector-based tool. Okay. However, NVMet is a grid-based tool. Okay, I was just referring to it. So there has to be some conversion from vector to grid. Okay, so probably we'll not be discussing it in this introductory session, but you remember that we can do this also. We can take the GIS file and bring it to the NVMet software and then convert that already digitized part into INX files or grid files, which can be used in the NVMet software. Okay, so this is one part, but we are not seeing it today. Second part which is important is the space is called where we actually model it. Okay, where we use this platform to model the buildings and the surroundings. Okay, and normally the output file is INX file, okay, which is nothing but what is it, 2-dimensional grid models that we try to develop in this particular tool. The third, okay, this is what I said, this is the first tool. It's a building modeling or urban modeling tool. The second tool that we'll be using is NVMet Guide, okay, where we try to create simulation features or simulation time. For example, let's say I want to simulate for November 23rd, 12 to 1 p.m. Okay, so we have to create a file which says, okay, which gives an input to the model, which saying we need to run a simulation for 1 hour, which is from 12 to 1 p.m. on particular day. Okay, on a particular meteorological characteristics. All that has to be fed here. This is the second tool. We will be using this tool today in our demonstration as well. And then we have something called NVMet Core, where once we create this model and once we assign the simulation, once we create the simulation tool, this is INX file and this is SIMAX file. Okay, once both the files are created, we go to the third tool, which is nothing but just a tool where we have to import this model and also the SIMAX file and then run the simulation. This is the third tool that is there for running the simulation. Then we have a fourth tool, which I'll take this as 4. This is Leonardo, where the tool is named like that. Maybe I don't know, maybe after the founder or something. This is a tool where we can graphically visualize the simulation results that is taken from this particular tool. Okay, the whatever simulation result that is generated from NV Core can be visualized using Leonardo tool. And in addition to that, there's another tool called Biomet. Okay, suppose if we are interested, this is after generating the results. After generating the results, if you have simulation results, within that simulation results, the tool will generate so many parameters, so many results it will generate. One of the results it will generate is also on thermal comfort indices, especially on PET or UTCI. Okay, So what is PET, what is UTCI, we should have an understanding, only then we'll probably will be able to use it in our application. So by default, all the simulations will generate these results, which we can use if, for example, somebody is interested in understanding, let's say this is a park, and we have built fabrics and so on and so forth. We wanted to do comfort analysis for this particular park, okay, and for, let's say, for a duration of 3 days or 4 days, and you want to know whether what is the kind of thermal environment that is there in the park and which is acceptable or not, okay. So we have standard index for understanding that through simulations, okay, which is PET and UTCI. So the software will be using Envimate will be able to generate these results as well. In addition to that, you also have certain some more things that we should understand in the tool. One is called the data manager or database manager, where all the files has to be stored. This is because this is going to be a confusing data structure, because it will have 3 files basically. One, like we discussed, INX file, the second file is a SIMAX file, and the third one is the output generated from the SIMAX file, simulation results, okay. So all 3 has to be in the same layer and same folder. That has to be, we have to make sure that all those files are managed in a proper manner, okay. In addition to that, suppose if we are creating a personalized data set, okay, I think for landscape students you have come across this word, personalized database. In GIS there's a folder called personalized database, right? There's something called geodatabase and something called personalized geodatabase. In personalized geodatabase, what do? We don't go by the default materials, we don't go by the default settings, we try to modify those default materials, and then we create our own materials and own settings, okay. So even this new creation of materials, new creation of vegetations, new creation of building characteristics, all this will be in the same folder. It has to have some connection with the same folder, okay. By default it does, but just remember that we can't just it is similar to GIS also has 3 or 4 folders connected together, right? So you have something called where you have shape files in one place, where you have georeferenced files in some other place, but there's a connection between the folders. So like this is also slightly a complex data structure, but we don't have to go into intricacies of it. If we just follow the process, we will not get into troubles. But just remember that to follow the process, so that we don't lose the data set. This is one thing. Second thing is there is a specific tool added to this. It's called Albero. Where you can model the trees. How do we model the trees? A landscape student will be in a position to tell us, but I will tell you whatever I know, little bit about plants characteristics, and how the software takes into consideration all the modeling, okay. So little bit on that I'll speak, so that if you have custom trees and if you have specific trees from the case studies, and how do you translate that into a model, okay. And there's something new here, but even I have not seen it. It says it will be available from 2022. I have no idea what will be that, okay. So I think this is all I have for the introductory part, and if you have any questions we can take that, otherwise we can go to the software. Okay, I did not turn on the videos. Any question? So far good? Everybody is there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I think if you have questions, you can ask. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just take you to the software. Like I said, I'll be demonstrating using a 4.45 version, okay, which we have purchased recently for a project, and it is a full software. Yeah, I think maybe I can show. Yeah, I can show it here. So I'm launching the software. What you can do is you can go to the EnviMed website and you can download this version, EnviMed V5 version 5. Okay. So, but what I'm going to do now is to demonstrate using 4.5 version. Okay, so it's the software as such is not a big software. I think it will be 50 MB or so, but the process, the simulation process is complex. Okay, so what I do now is I'll just launch EnviMed. Yeah, before I do that, you can also check other things here. There are certain things that you can look in the software, and I was looking for what is the cost of the software for students. So it says 290 euros per annum, but I think you can try if there's a requirement, but this is also again slightly limited. No commercial, that's fine, we don't do any commercial work. No parallel computing, that's also fine, because at a time we don't have to run multiple simulations for a project. Okay, so one at a time can be done. So this should be fair enough. If somebody is keen, it can be done. In demo version, what will happen is, I don't know in version 5 what is the grid size they have given. Otherwise, what you will get is you will get a grid size of 60 cross 60 cross 50, sometimes 40. I think it should be 50. Okay, so 60 grids cross 60 grid cross 50 grids. So this is the maximum you can model in a free software. Whereas in other versions we can do as big as possible in that. So how do we understand this grid? Again, it's up to us. For example, let's say you have a site which is let's say 60 meter by 60 meter, and the average height of the building is only 20 or let's say 30 meters. Okay, so your model will definitely fit into this scale, the available free version itself. Normally what is done is we don't do 1:1 scale, 1:1 ratio. Modeling is not done. We normally scale down the project itself. So theoretically, for speed simulation, for speeding up the simulations and generating the results, it is advised that we should have at least 30% of our grid areas to be free. For example, if your total grid area in your free version is only 60 by height is fine, 50. Okay, if it is 60 by 60, ideally what you should do is at least you should leave some 5 to 10 grids free, okay, on all sides, so that there is no error in the simulations. Okay, why there is an error, what is the logic, I don't know. That's how even if you see the advanced training options that is there in the website, they will advise that not to make models for the entire grid itself, whatever grid available for you. Leave some grids within the overall working area, maybe 5 grids or 10 grids, and then make a model of it. Okay, this was one other thing that you should keep in mind. Okay, the second thing that you should keep in mind is the software is all in metrics. Okay, when we say it's all, it will be in meters. Okay, so when you can work it out as meters, 60 meters by 60 meters by 50 meters. This is X, Y and Z height information. So in what I'm going to do now, or what demonstration that I'll do is, we will use this grid, but we will scale it down by 50%. For example, let's say if we have a model which is 60 cross 60 cross 60, okay, what I'll do is I'll do the model for only 30 cross 30 cross 30, okay, so that we have plenty of space left for simulations, empty grids left for simulations and fast results. Okay, so that's another thing that you should keep in mind before we actually start the software itself. Okay, so I have launched the software. I'm not going to update it now because it's, yeah, so you can see this is we have purchased this license. This is there till December end. Okay, so I'll just keep it as it is. There are certain tools you can see here if you go to Envimet, and the second tab is on data settings, and the third one is on system and about the configuration and help and so on and so forth. First thing what you need to do is you should go to the database, data and data setting, and there's something called manage projects and workspace. Okay, first thing before you actually launch into the software, like we have discussed, you click on this and create a database where you want to work. Okay, first assign that, and then you have to proceed for the other steps. So what I'll do is I'll just click on the manage projects, and already I have some projects that I have tested, but I can just show you a few things. For example, how does it look? So I have created a folder in D, okay, which reads as Envimet, and I have subfolders here. So I have already assigned that. You can assign it to respective folders, so that all the files are there within the folder. Okay, what you need to do, since there will be nothing in your record, first thing what you have to do is create a new project. I'll click create a new project, and it says what is the name of the project. Let's say it's class test run. Okay, I'll say CTR. Okay, I'll just keep the same thing, CTR. Okay, and also there is an option here, project uses a project database. This can be left as it is if you are not making any new materials. What do you mean by new materials? Let me go back to this again. Okay. For example, there are certain default materials available for us in the software. Okay, for example, very basic things. For example, building material, vegetation, soil characteristics. Let's say these are the three things. However, if you see default materials, the U value of the material may not match with what the U value of the material that you wanted to simulate for. Okay, for example, I can directly say in the default material we don't have concrete roof. Let's say which we conventionally use, 15 centimeter concrete slabs. It's not there. Okay, they have concrete slabs with insulation and so on and so forth. Okay, or we use conventional bricks. Okay, 230 mm conventional brick that is there in the default, or let's say you want to add some certain additional characteristics to the material. So in that case, if you use, like I said, default, there are certain things that we can use. If you are going for personalized material, you want to modify certain materials and then you want to use those materials in your simulations, then you have to click this. You have to go with this option. Okay, where did I go? This must be. Okay. Yeah, you have to click on this. Anyway, I'll keep this use project database. Okay, even if you duplicate it, even if you duplicate the default materials, you can still use that. Okay, so I'll just say apply changes to the product. Done. Okay, so we have created one database. Okay, we have said where it will work. Okay, the second thing is this is the complex thing. Probably I will show you the basic default materials in the software, and then we will come back to this particular tool. Okay, where for example we can model the type of greening system that we have first for the facade and for the for the roof. Okay, we can do that, and we can do additional elements. For example, apart from the core building, we may have additional elements, right? For example, like the images that is shown here. Okay, sunshades or any additional elements that is there in your project. Okay, for that we may have certain specific materials and certain specific characteristics. All that has to be specifically modeled. Okay, and there is something called pollutions. We probably will not be doing it. But it is there. Suppose if you are interested in modeling air pollutions in a specific environment, that can also be done provided we have the sources. Then of course probably some of you, the landscape students, may be interested in modifying the plants. Not all the plants may be suitable, and probably if you want to modify certain plants, the characteristics of the plant, height, length, width, root characteristics, leaf characteristics, all that can be modeled here. Okay, this is another. Wall, of course. Okay, like we all discuss about in the studios, the combinations of wall, what is the U value, what is the R value that you want to achieve, all that can be defined, and specific materials can be generated. I'll just show you I'll just show all this in coming after going through the basic things. Those who want to take it up further and do actual simulations in the sense more realistic simulations, you have to come back here and modify the materials. Okay, so these are some of the things that we can model it here in the tool. Okay, so now what we have done is we have assigned the folders where is the project and so on and so forth. And if you click on this tab, we have something called mode, space, NV Guide, NV Core, Biomet, and Leonardo. So like I said, this is for mode is used where we want to bring in some vector based drawings, okay, and then convert them into grid based outputs. This can be done. Since we are not going to do it now because it's not required as of now. Maybe if there's a requirement, maybe we can have one session especially on that. How do you bring GIS files, how do you bring CAD files and then convert them into grid files. Okay, I'll just close this. Okay. The second tool that is what we are interested in. We click on the spaces. Okay. So this is the interface that you get as soon as you click on the tool space. Okay, this is the modeling platform where we have to model the urban areas or the neighborhood or the site that we are interested in. So what do we do? You can see here already there are, since I have many projects tested here, those are listed here. Otherwise you kindly make sure that you are in the right project and you are modeling in the right file, because this will get assigned. Let's say if I keep on this tool and then if you start modifying, the output will be different. Okay, so I'll keep this class test That's what we have created. This is what we created. Okay, so the first thing, you go to edit setting. Okay, create new area. Okay, first thing, in this create new area, we have to assign the location where from where the model is been generated. We can look for locations. I'll just say Vijayawada. Okay, take the closest location and then leave it there. The second thing is model geometry. Okay, this is important one. In free version, probably you may not be able to model this further. I hope it is 60, 60, 50, if not 30. In free version, I think it is 60, 60, 30. Whatever be the model, but you have to scale it your site to this particular grid only. Okay, so in my case, I'll just leave it as it is, because will not do larger scale than this. But even I can just show it is possible in the other full versions. We can do even much larger version than this, but we have to have good system. The system is, I don't think this will run because it is only there is no GPU, good GPU in this laptop. You have to have good GPU as well. So I'm just keeping 100 by 100, and 50 is the height of the maximum height of the model that we have in our case. This is the important one, size grid cell in meters. Okay, you want that grid to be in, it can be 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. Okay, but the model will be very, very heavy. Okay, so of course it is a fine model because it is 1 meter by 1 meter grid, but I don't think if you have a good system, let's say you have i7 with some 4 GB graphics, dedicated graphics, then I think you can keep 1, 1, 1 and then model it. If your system is weak in the sense, if you don't have a dedicated GPU, my suggestion is you can keep 2 or more than 2. Okay, and this is one thing. The second thing is telescoping. This is also important. Like I said, you have to keep certain buffer area in the model. Okay, so that there's no error while simulations. Okay, so what I would say is, although my grid area is 50, I'll say that more than 55. Okay, after that I want to create a virtual environment which is 55 meter in height. Okay, and maybe let's say around 20% of excess area. Okay, so it is kind of let's say, theoretically we are saying, okay, this is our model area, but we are creating 20% extra area in our model for 3D visualization. Okay, so if you make full model, full area, there's difficulty in simulations and also for visualization purpose. Okay, so telescoping is also important. You can just you don't have to do much, just you can keep 20% and keep your the building height or excess area by 55%, 50, little more than your height. It can be 10 meters or 5 meters is more than good enough. Other things we will not discuss now because we are not taking any GIS file directly here. So let the other things be as it is. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we have mentioned the Z grid as 50 and one grid is of 2 meter in height.
Yes.
So the telescoping height that you have mentioned is 55. Means as per the grid, it will be the 100 meter height. Means 2 meter height.
20% of the total height.
20% but our total height will be 100, na? If the grid is 50, because one grid has 2 meters.
Yes, it will be 100. Yes, correct. You're correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is, see, if we, this is kind of a scaling. Okay, in actual scale, let's say our site is 100 meter by 100 meter by 50 meter height. We are actually scaling it down by 50%. If we say 2, that means we'll be able to, we'll be modeling 50, 50, 25 meters. Okay. Yeah. So these are the things that you adapt here, and
Sir,
yes.
sir, if I have site is around 100 by 60, so what will be the input over here?
You can, I'll show you, maybe I'll show you one digitization part. You can, if your actual size is 100 by 60, maybe you can model it, you can keep this 2 meters by 2 meters. Okay, and then you can make it 50 by 30.
Okay, I am having the free version, so it's showing that 100 by 100 by 50 is possible, but
Okay.
if I take 60 by 60 by 30, then what will be the size of the bit?
This is for scaling. See, you can keep as it is also and model it. Okay, let's say if you have 100 by 100 by 50, is a which version?
Sir, it is 5.
5. Okay, then it's good. 100 by 100 by 50 is good number actually. So, but my suggestion is, please don't model for the entire grid, because it will be too heavy. Unless you have a good system, my suggestion is you don't do that. And in fact, why I have delayed this session is because of the results I could not generate. Okay, I have simulated only for 1 hour. It took in this system, which is i7 8th generation, 16 GB RAM, no graphics. Okay, but still it took 2 hours for rendering, only 1 hour of simulations. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, fine, let's go ahead and let's see what can be done. This is the grid I have applied. I'll say apply changes to the existing area. Okay. Okay, fine. So if you see here, this is the total grid, 100 by 100, and Z we have kept it 50 meters. Okay, fine. So basic things we have to know. What we have to know here is we have certain tabs here, which is for buildings. You can see if you click here, some building, and there are certain characteristics that is listed here. Height of the building, top of the building height, and bottom of the building height. What is the difference is, suppose top of the building height means it will generate a volume like this. Okay, and if you click the second one, suppose if you have some punches in the building, okay, you can use the second option that is listed there. The second option is on bottom of the building. So if you want to create some punches, maybe we can see with the examples, it will be better. We have to also assign materials. Okay, for example, let's say material here, you click on this layer, and if you see, there are certain materials listed here. Okay, what is the kind of finish that we are looking for? Okay, we have to assign the materials, and this is on the building. For vegetation as well. Okay, first we have to assign what is the kind of vegetation that we have, and so on and so forth. Okay, and soil. These three things we will use and see how it can be, how we can model the something in this platform. Okay, directly we can do that. Okay, once, for example, let's say now I'll just keep the building height as 10. Okay, and this is my entire study area, and I'll just assign some materials before I do that. Let's say I'll just use, okay, let's say hollow blocks. Okay, Oh, fine. Now what I do is I can directly start adding the buildings. How the buildings are added? It is only by in the form of grids. Okay. So what is the size here now? Each grid is we have said it is 10 meter height. Okay. So let me finish this and then we can see in 3D what is the height that we are getting. Okay, suppose if you made some mistakes, you can go here and click on the delete option and you have to redo it. Okay, fine. So if you see this in 3D, it's 10 meter height building profile that we have added. Okay, we have seen something here. Let's say I'll put this 10 meters and let's say create file. Okay, what it does is it creates punches along the building. 5 meters gap is kind of a stilt. 5 meters stilt, 5 meter is left open, and then total height of the building is modeled. Okay, you can use that. Return to 2D. Okay, this is building form. Okay, let's how we have vegetations in hand. Let's say we have some vegetation. You have to assign what kind of vegetations that you have. I'll just put somewhere a little bit. Let's say we have some thick dense vegetation part, only grass. Okay, or you can add, let's say you have trees, hedges, something. Okay, randomly depending on your layout. Okay, we can also add surfaces. What kind of surface that we want to add? It can be road, let's say asphalt or whatever. Okay, suppose you have paved area. Okay, I'm just randomly doing it. I'll just show you with some base map also, but I'll just for your quick understanding, that's how model is done. Okay, so you can see what are the different surfaces that you can assign. Okay, so maybe you can just try with these three things. It's more than good enough. If you have any additional things, for example DEM and all, we can modify. If you have modified terrains and you want to bring that here, all that can also be done. Okay, So this is how it looks as of now. Okay, so we have some building and we have some paved area and so on and so forth. Okay, this is very random. How do we bring in and how do we use some base reference and then model it? Okay, that will be more appropriate, isn't it? What I normally suggest is, I'll just close this, we can start a new program. Okay, you can go to a tab called digitize. Okay, select a bitmap. Okay, let's check the settings first. Okay, let it be there. I'll just keep 10%. Okay, we can go to digitize. You can click on select bitmap and you can have you can bring in some diagrams, okay, based on your site and whatever, and make it. We need only building, we need building and maybe greenery and maybe paved and unpaved areas. Like a site plan, if you have, that's more than good enough. You have to have some basic site plan with you, and that can be imported. Okay, and you can model it on top of this. Okay, that's more appropriate and more correct way of doing it also. Okay, and still if you have some issues, you can scale it up here. Okay, you can scale the drawings that you have in hand. Okay, so let me scale it down. You can see that I'm just telling you that there's an option. Suppose if you don't want a model to be in this nature, and if you are scaling it up proportionately, if you are scaling it up, there's still some options available for you here that you can check. I'll just leave it as it is. I'm not going to modify this anything more than this. Okay, let us assume this is what we have in hand. First thing, let's say this is a C-shaped building that we have. What I do is I'll go to building tab and then I'll just assign okay, I think we have not assigned building materials also. Okay, I'll just say wall material. Okay, in the edit setting tab, default settings, there are certain two more parameters that is there. Was assigning wall, what is the wall characteristics and what is the roof characteristics. I'll just assign some concrete, lightweight concrete for the wall, and for roofing there's nothing there, so when it finishes there, yeah. Okay, see, this is what I said, we don't have in the default setting, this is terracotta, so it's just a finish, not the core structure itself. But anyway, I'll just assign this for now. I'll tell you how to modify this. Okay, apply, and let us assume the height of the building is what is the grid size? Grid size is 30 meters. Okay, let's say we keep 20 meter as a building height. Okay, what I do now is I'll just click here, add, and then I'll trace this. Basically, we are saying that these grids are buildings, and a building has these characteristics. Okay, so I'll just fill it up. Okay, maybe we can do something here. Let's say okay, and let us say I don't want this. I'll just erase this. We'll create something else here. You have to go to delete button. You have to click on the delete tab and then modify it. So I'll just keep 10 now, and then we'll mark. Okay, fine. I'll go to vegetation. I'll just put some grass here. Let us assume some courtyard kind of thing. We can have trees also randomly. Not trees, those are hedges. You can have more detailed things also. Okay, let's say tree dense 20 meter. Okay, just put it somewhere here. Okay, maybe 2. Okay, surfaces. Surfaces, you can see here there's a tab here, display surface color. I'll just remove that. If you see the surface profile, what we can do is let us assume okay, we have certain kind of profile here. Let's say this is paved and other things are not paved. You can do that, or you can just apply any material that you want to do. Let's say I'll just add some material here. Okay. I have just assigned this particular material, okay, which is brick, road or whatever. Okay, so let us say we have model buildings like this, and if you see it in 3D, you can go to 3D, you can see this is our model area. Okay, we have something here on top. Suddenly go to vegetation. Okay, fine. Anyway, so we this is basic things. Now let us say we want to add some certain things on the facade itself. Okay, so far we have seen only we can do it on the surface in 2 dimension. Suppose if you want to assign some certain materials on the facade itself, what do we do? In order to do that, first you have to convert this into detailed design. I think those who are familiar with building energy simulation models, we do this. After we do some conceptual model, we convert them into detailed design. After that, we can't modify these things. After that, we will not be able to modify any of these characteristics that we have. Okay. So what I do is I'll just convert this into detailed design. Okay. Once you do that, this tab will get activated. You can see this tab, set individual settings tab will get activated. Now you can assign material characters. For example, let us say this is for the facade. Okay. Let's say I want to have, I can add glass, heat protection glass layer on the facades. It's not visible. Oh, sorry. Similarly, we can do something for the roof as well. Let's say if you have specific finishes for the roof, okay, you assign that. Or one more thing, if you want to add some greeneries, okay, if you want to add some greeneries, okay, the specific assignment has to be done on that. Okay, so what you have to do, we have to convert this detailed model into, if you want to work on the facades, you have to convert this into you have to convert this model into detailed concept design, so that you can work on the facades. Yeah, so this is the first task here, where you have to model the buildings. Okay, so if you have any questions on this, you let me know. Otherwise, we will go to the other part. This is the main part where you have to model this. Once you model this, you have to save this as, once you click on save, let's say I'll just click on save, it will save as INX file. Okay, so this INX file has to be saved in the same folder where you have created your okay, let's say I'll just put it here. This INX file has to be saved. This is one output that we need for further simulations. Okay, so I'll just close this now. Okay, so once we have done, let's say once we have created the base file for that through base model for this, the second step that we need is, we need to tell the software what kind of simulations has to be done, how much has to be done. Okay, let's say I'll click here, this is NV guide, click on this. Okay, so once you do that, there's another tab will come. Okay, so it tells us which is the project that we are working on, what is the let's say what are the other files you have. Okay, maybe let's say since you're doing it for the first time, you will get a tab like this. What we need to do is, we need to create a new file. Okay, you can see you click on the new file. What are we creating? We are creating actually CIMAX file. If you remember, I think it is there. Yeah, first we need this INX file, that is the model. The second file we need is CIMAX file, which tells us about what is the kind of simulations that we have to run and what are the characteristics of the simulation. Okay, we need the second file for simulation. So that's what we are creating. You click on the click on new, and it will tell you what is that you want to do. It says start duration of the, when do you want the simulations to start. Okay, you can assign a specific date, time, date and time, or how many hours of simulations that you need. You want for 24 hours or you want for 1 hour. Okay, and name the simulation. I'll just leave it as it is. And once you do that, okay, the INX file will be that we have already created from the model will come here. Click next, and this is where it will take you to. Okay, this is the important phase where there are 3 stages you will get to see. Okay, one is for beginners. These two probably may not be there in the in the free version. It is not there actually. So beginner, intermediate, and advanced stage. What we definitely we will see this. What are the other things that you have here? For example, in intermediate scale, additional settings for meteorological boundary conditions. Maybe I can click here. Let's say it is saying, do you want to use your measured data? Okay, suppose you go to site and then you have or you have installed certain data loggers, and then you want to use that primary data for simulation. Okay, many of the students ask, if I have collected the data, how do I use it? So suppose if you have data loggers and we have installed it for a quite long time, and then we have primary data in hand, we can bring it here, and we can use we have to assign what are the data that we have collected and how is it working, all that. Okay, this is one part. In advanced setting also there are other things that you can do apart from assigning the apart from the primary data. We can also use certain inbuilt models also. For example, let's say in thermal comfort itself we have certain models, right, for understanding for understanding the scale. ASHRAE model is there, European model is there, EN55. Then 2 more models are there. So there are certain models which is inbuilt also. We can use it in the advanced setting. However, in the beginner scale, let's say if you click on the in the first tab, I think for many of you that will be only option. Here again we have certain control on the output. What are the controls that we can have? How is the air temperature of your simulation? Okay, let's say if you are simulating it for specific summer months, okay, and you have at least the minimum air temperature in the night, maximum air temperature in the day. At least this information we can get, yeah, from using 1 day's data. You can extract the weather file, and then at least we'll be able to get this. Okay, you can take this and then you can modify as accurately as possible. You can read the weather data. Okay, and that. Okay, so first one we can modify the temperature. The other one, of course, we can modify the wind speed. Again, we have the control on this. This again we can look for weather file, and based on the weather file for a specific day that we are looking for, you can assign the specific numbers here. And of course the orientation, okay, the direction of the wind can also be modified. Okay, so once you do that, this is the final summary. It says new area, what is the date, start date of the simulation. Okay, when on that day, for whichever you are simulating, and how many hours for which the simulation is done. Okay, so once you do that, this tab will come where it says you can save it now and run the simulations, or you can save the SimX file now and run the simulations later, or you can directly save and start the simulations now itself. Okay, what I do is I'm not going to save it now. I'll just open the previous files so that I can show you the next tab also. The next tab is NVCore, where the actual simulation takes place. So we have created 2 files. One is INX file, that is on model. The second file is SimX file, that is for simulation. Okay, so once both the files are done, let's say both the output is generated, we can come here and it will take you to the same folder where you have worked on. Okay, I'll just click here, let's say okay, so load simulation. So already this is the SIMAX file that I have created. So once we load this, our project and the SIMAX file, then it will ask you for checking errors, if there is any errors to be checked. Okay, so just in case you just run, if there is some error, it will identify, otherwise we can run the simulations. Okay, I'm not going to run the simulation, I'll just show you the results because it will take time for generating results. Even for just for checking the results, it will take some time. Let's see if it happens quickly. It's taking some time. Depending on your system, the simulation time can be for maybe for 1 hour, 2 hours. It depends. Okay, let's see if I can. Okay, fine, maybe let it run. Once you click on the check, okay, after that if there is no major, normally if you have done the project correctly, model correctly and simulation times correctly, there will not be error. Okay, so if it is showing error, probably you may have to check that and modify that, and then come back here and click on the run simulation. Okay, once you click on run simulation, it will in this corner, after processing it, it will tell you how much time it will take for generating results. Okay, so maybe and it will also, there is one what is it called, progress bar, how much percentage of simulation is over, that will be shown on this corner, that we'll get to know. And once the simulation is, let's say if in the progress bar it says 3 hours for simulation, and after it reaches 100% here, we will get a dialog, or we will get a result here in the dialog box, or in the screen. Simulation is over, and what is the time it has taken, what are the basic materials that has been taken as input. Okay, that is also important, and we have to have a copy of it. So I think you guys are reading papers. In the papers, you must have seen whenever there is a use of NVMed software for some results, they will also tabulate certain things. The tabulation will be off. Tabulation will be on when the data, when is the simulation taken, what are the building materials that are assigned, what is the air velocity that has been taken into model, and what is the average temperature. There are certain 7 or 8 parameters that will be there. Okay, that will be shown in the papers also. So whenever you show your results of NVMed also, it is necessary that you should show what are the input data that you have used. Okay, so in simulation primarily, since probably you will be aware, otherwise just remember that when we use simulation, we should also along with the results, before discussing actually results, we should show the input data. Okay, under these input characteristics, this is my result. Okay, that's how simulation results has to be presented. Okay, so and I'm sure in your papers also you must have seen a table where NVMet input data will be described. Okay, that's essential, and that will be there at the end of the results. You will get one paragraph, 4-5 lines describing all the characteristics that is used in the building. Okay, so keep a copy of that. Okay, so once this is done, okay, can I close this? It's just taking time. I hope other things work. Let's see if I can just forcefully close it. Okay, fine. Let us assume that that is also done. Okay, when simulation results are all done, then how do we read it? That's another tool we have to go for. Okay, so that's Leonardo. Once you click on Leonardo, you will get an interface like this where the results can be read. Okay, so I have some results already in hand. So what I do is, as soon as you open this, you will see here it's called Data Navigator. Click on Data Navigator and then select data files. Okay, click on this folder. Once the simulation is complete, maybe I can show you the folder first. Let's say any of the files. Once simulation is complete, you will get an output file. Okay, it says whatever based on the name of the files that you have created for INX. Okay, Simax file. Okay, you will get Simax output hyphen output, where you have all this output in your hand. Okay, you can imagine this is only 1 hour data, and you have 600 odd MB of output. Okay, so that's what I was saying. The software is simple. It will generate hundreds of results, but we should know what results to be used, when to be used, and whether the results is acceptable or not. That's the main aspect of this. Okay, so once you click that, there are so many things are there. Okay, starting from atmosphere to soil characteristics to vegetations and so on and so forth. Okay, so here I go to the platform, I click on the Data Navigator, click on select files. I go here. There are so many outputs. One of the output that we'll be using is atmosphere, and within that you can see there are certain results that is generated. Since it is generated, I think I have kept this for I think there are 2 hours of data is there, I guess, 15:59 to 16:59. Okay, so let me click on this, open. Yeah, you can see we have some data from 14 to 16 onwards. Okay, I'll just click on this. Okay, normally you will get a tab. Now I'm getting 2 closer lines here. Maybe I'll just select a bit over. Yeah, it's again missing. Anyway, fine. Okay, so this is what let's say if you have given for 12 hours of simulations, it will tell you from where to where you have the simulated results. Okay, so in our case it is only for 1 hour. I think it's between 4 to 5. Let's just click on that. Click on 2D map. Okay, so once you click on 2D map, this tab will come, and you can see if you click on the data, click on data, you will find these many parameters of results have been simulated. Okay, we can read, we can use this for various purposes. Okay, depending on our requirement. Let's say I'll just plot for now air temperature, potential temperature. Okay, rest of it I'll just keep as it is. Then I'll say it's not visible for you, maybe. Yeah, there's a tab called extract 2D. Click on extract 2D. Okay, so we have got a result. This is of course not for the model that I have made during the demonstration. Okay, I did it yesterday or day before, just for showing it to your class. Okay, so I'm sure you must have seen these kind of results in your papers, which talks about various parameters. Here we are just trying to show the temperature. Okay, now what are the parameters that we can modify on this? Okay, so okay, let us close this for now. Okay, we have I can modify this. Okay, we have something here which talks about temperature profile range and basic output here. Of course we can modify all this. You can click on the label, and suppose if you want to have some other name. Okay, let's say results and present. It's all about presentations now. Okay, how do you want to show the results, so on and so forth. Okay, I'll just see what are the other things that are there. All the map characteristics that you want to modify, you can modify here. That's about text. Map density. Okay, where do you want to place it, and how much space you need to leave, all that you can modify. Access. Suppose if you want to have control on the grids. Okay, maybe I'll just say 50. Okay, you can have control on the grids as well. 50. Okay, you can modify that. We have graphical. Okay, arrows are there. Arrows as of now we have not. This is for the orientation, and if you have correct orientation, if you want to modify it, you can do modifications here. Okay, this is also important. Many times we don't put it. Okay, many times we get offended if we say please put north point. Okay, we don't like that statement, but it is necessary because it is with reference to specific orientation. The results have to be read. It's important actually. Okay, we have something called graphic overlay, and if you have building traced here, okay, that can be overlaid and showed. That's also possible. If you click on the other things, which is on data layer, we have some data legend. We have some modifications that can be brought in if you want to show smooth presentation of the colors, or if you have you want to reduce the class numbers and then you want to show it, how does it work, all that can be done, and update every time whatever modifications that you want to do. Okay, one interesting thing that you can try is, let's say on vector setting, you see there are certain things which is shown as green and certain things as red. If you have to turn on the red, you right click it. If you right click, there are two both the clicks will work. Okay, if you for some right click will work, and for some left click will work. We can actually superimpose the vector information here. Let's say I'll just put 2. This is for wind direction. Okay, let's say we can keep 10,000. Okay. Oops. Okay, so this will help in probably explaining how for that particular 1 hour what is the wind direction and how it can be read. Okay, so there are other things that can be done. Maybe let's see if I can do something on 3D, and I'll show that, and with that we can navigator. One second. Let me close this. I'll go here again, data, navigator, open the file, any one of the data set. Okay, so let's say this time we'll click on 3D. Okay, so 3D, we can generate 3D potential temperature. Okay, so we don't see any model here. What we have to do is we come here, we have to enable 3D layer here. Okay, right click. Okay, this is on temperature, that's why we're not able to visualize anything here. Maybe I can try wind speed. Okay. Okay, one second. Maybe I'm not able to get this correctly. Fine. I'll just extract one more thing which you can use it in your results is to okay, I think by default it has come. You have to turn on this this, one second, not this one. A special layer setting where you can click on Envimate defaults, okay, which actually highlights which is building, which are the other elements that you have in hand. Okay, so all that will be visible. Fine. Okay, so this is one. This is the third tool that you can use. You can use it for visualizing the data set that we have created. Okay, fine. I think we are getting time. Okay, I thought 1 hour. It is taking more than that. Just one last discussion and then we can close it. It will be useful for you. Okay, last thing. There's one more tool called Biomet. I'll just click on Biomet. This is interesting for maybe all of you, or at least for the ones who know what is PET, UTCI and so on and so forth. What you can do is you can go to okay, I'll just say okay. So go to that specific data, okay, and then let's say we want to any one of the parameters will help enough for us to simulate. Let's say it's already taking air temperature, mean radiant temperature, wind speed, humidity, and so on and so forth. What I do is I'll just say calculate UTCI. I'll say calculate UTCI. This is for which we are doing. This is for last output. I'll just say calculate UTCI. File to be processed. Sorry, 1 second. Temperatures. Okay, this is done. Okay, this is mean radiant temperature is there. These are parameters we can modify. I think those who know the subject on comfort, you know what are these characteristics is all about. Okay, so please one more files to proceed. Which one is it? There's something wrong I'm doing. I'm not able to. Okay, I think I'm doing something wrong. What I'm doing wrong, I'm not able to figure out. We can actually calculate PET, UTCI, and set temperatures. Maybe let's see some other results. Okay, so, yeah, this one should work. Yeah, I think something is wrong with that output, I guess. So this is Novi test. Okay, I'll calculate UTCI also for this. Generally you will get an output like this, okay, for which hour you have simulated your results. Okay, suppose I have given for 1 hour, so which 1 hour it is showing here. I'll just say calculate UTCI. Okay, so we have calculated UTCI and set temperature and PET also. What is UTCI? What is ACT? That you have to learn it. Okay, fine. What I do now, this is in again output. Okay, fine. Go to Leonardo. Click on the select files. This is no again Biomet. This is Biomet, and all the results that we have generated is there. Yes, well, 1:30 p.m. on 29. UTCI. Suppose if we want to know what is the UTCI value that we have got, this is for this month, as for this time, I'll just use UTCI. Okay, and let's create 2D map. Okay, so we have UTCI values for this particular area. So it's as easy as possible. Only thing is we should know what is UTCI and how do we interpret UTCI. Okay, I think I have given a lot of information, but one thing I said I will do, but I have not done it. Maybe I can quickly show that also. That is, you go to data settings, click on database manager. Yeah, so let's say we'll do only at least 2 elements, model only 2 elements, and then you can try other things. Let's say first we start with wall we can discuss, or maybe basic materials also is fine. Wall we can discuss. Yeah, soil also we'll discuss. At least two we'll discuss. Let's say you have certain. We want to customize a wall. Okay, we are not interested, or the kind of wall that we have is not there. Kind of wall that we have in the sense concrete wall, heavy concrete wall, light is not the is just a name. Okay, these are the characteristics of the wall. Okay, so what is the roughness, length, what is the what are the other characteristics of all of these materials are there here listed. Okay, suppose if you want to customize a wall, let's say what I do is what you need to do is there's an option here. You can do right click and create new from the copy, or you can click on the symbol that you see here. Okay, there's a duplicate material has been copied here, and once you copy that, you can see a symbol here that is getting reflected here, which means there are two copies of the same material. Okay, so kindly as soon as you make a copy, you rename this based on your requirement, otherwise there will be error in your simulations also. Why? Because there are two materials and you are actually overwriting the original materials. Okay, that should not be the case. You can have let's say this is wall material for your project. You can have that. Okay, and then if you have specific things, specific values that you want to assign, that you can do that. And in addition, what is that specific material that we are talking about? Let's say you can have a discussion with MSc students. They will be in a position to tell, let's say, what are these values? Okay, what are these values? And there are, let's say, there are three thicknesses. One is let's say together it is 0.3 meters thickness, and you have a combination of, let's say, stone. You can see this is outside. Let's say aerated stone outside, and then you have concrete or burnt brick in the middle, and something in the finish. Okay, let's say you have again tile. Okay, let's say some tile is there. Okay, let's say this is your wall combination. Fine, and we can model this, and then we can use this for simulations. Okay, this is about material. What else you can do is maybe that's fair enough for material. I'll just show you for one greenery, and then we can stop. Let's say greening. Greening is about let's say it's about how do you define the air gaps. Okay, I think this characteristics should help you in understanding this. Okay, let's say this is plant thickness. Okay, you have to define what is the kind of plant that you are going to have. Okay, sorry, here. Okay, and what kind of clay, sorry, we are doing it directly here, that's why. Okay, now just changing it here. Okay, just test. Okay, you can have your own definition of greenery. Okay, that will be your first layer, and what is the thickness of that particular layer. Okay, and if you know leaf area index of that particular layer, or LAD, LAI, I think you are, at least landscape students should be aware what is LAD and what is LAI. Okay, and let's say the substrata is also known to you, and you are making some combinations. Okay, I'm just randomly adding here. Okay, don't ask me whether this is correct combinations or not. You are the better person to tell. Okay, so what I'm saying is we can model, we have to know these things, we have to customize this materials, all the parameters, so that our results become as realistic as possible. Okay, otherwise we'll go by default settings that probably we may not be interested in. Okay, one last thing, that is there's something called okay, maybe first I should show here and then we can go to that. Okay, you have something called plant characteristics also. You can modify plant characteristics. Let's say I'll go to okay, you have this. Okay, all your characteristics. Okay, I think I don't know whether you are aware or not. If you see the literature, the entire plant is divided in C3, C4, and C2 is also there, where how much carbon fixation it can take. I think maybe there's a table also if you look for help section. Okay, for different categories of plant, how it is classified as C1, C2, C3, all that can be there. What is the characteristics of the leaf? Okay, albedo. What is albedo? I hope you are all aware. Transmittance value for that, plant height, and type of roof, and LED, LAI, all that can be done. This is in 2D. You can do that same in 3D as well. Here you can actually model a tree, okay, itself. Okay, so let's see, for example, you take some okay, so we have this, and all the characteristics that you see here all can be modeled here. So suppose this is also one way of what do you say, understanding. If you don't have understanding on what is LED, LAI, all that can be done, all that can be looked, this tool can be used for understanding that as well. Okay, in simple language, what I understand, how tree is modeled here. Okay, so it like I said in the beginning itself, this is actually a grid based tool. Okay, so suppose if you have a tree and you have to model it in a real way, how this system works, how this modeling is done. Actually, it divides the entire tree into 10 sections. Okay, you can see this, maybe not visible here. Let's say I can explain it through here. For each section, the tree profile is mapped. Okay, so and then it is assumed that the entire tree is generated based on this. Okay, there are other parameters that you can modify, height, weight, plant type, deciduous, and all other things, all can be, you can try to do that. And in fact, there is a detailed discussions on the how do we model tree, and what are the characteristics that you can modify, change, all that is there in the software itself. You can look for help section where very detailed discussions is also there available. In fact, video tutorial is also available for you to check. Okay, I think I'm done. Any questions that you want to ask, you can ask. Otherwise, I'm done for the day.